Yo everybody and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Steins Gate Zero. Last left off we just had an interview with Maho and Mocha, and now we are seeing things through Maho's perspective and heading to Tokyo Denki, where the new lab is being temporarily used, or office I should say. Whatever, regardless, the area around Tokyo Denki was quiet. Mocha was there, told her that the surrounding areas were offices and government buildings, which meant that this time of year there was almost no one around. She felt bad but decided to have Mocha wait outside. The school was still on break, so she could have waited in one of the rooms on campus, but Mocha had refused. Okay, I'll call you when I get out. She split up with Mocha. Mao got very lost on her way to Izaki's lab. The school was completely empty because of the break, so she couldn't ask anyone. In the end, she had to call Dr. Linskin and get detailed instructions. A letter was taped on the door marked Dr. Izaki's lab. The letter had a photo of a smiling Dr. Linskin, along with some low-resolution text that looked like it was directly printed from a PC screen. For immediate release, Global Brain Science Comprehension Research Organization, Japanese Office Prep Room. The founder of this establishment, Alex Lexin, has a request. If everyone who saw this donated just $1, I could eat a can of Odin right now. He loves the stuff way too much. No matter how formal the setting, when the professor wanted to tell a joke, he'd do it. He really was just like a child. But his carefree personality let Maho and Krisu relax and enjoy their work. Suddenly remembering Krisu made her heart ache a little. She suddenly realized that her sudden change of address, coupled with living with a person she'd barely even met, was taking its toll on her. Today she finally get a chance to talk to her again. Or more accurately, the memories she'd left behind. Professor Linskin. When she stepped inside the lab and called the professor's name, the giant in the back came running to greet her. Hey Maho, thanks for coming. Welcome to our powered up prep room. Huh. So this table and two sofas are our power up prep room, huh? Yes. They say simplicity is the secret key to the truth, do they not? Who says that? I do! How can you hate this guy? The professor clapped his hands and laughed. Maho ignored him and went to sit on the sofa. He didn't seem hurt. Now then, about our future plans. Oh, sorry. I want to boot up Amadeus. Just give me a second. She took out her laptop and put it on the table. Her OS, a Linux variant customized for research purposes. Operating system, the basic software of a computer that controls the entire... okay, there we go. That was confusing. A OS software developed in 1991 to be compatible with general purpose Unix OS. At the time, Unix was extremely expensive and not easily available. So Linus Torvalds, then a university student, developed Linux as an alternative. The code is open source, and programmers from all around the world contributed to its development until it reached the point where it could be used for commercial purposes. Many modern web services use Linux. Yeah, just the LHC again. Oh, oops. Boot up on the displayed login screen. Mao typed in her account name the same way she'd done 1,000 times before. Saleri. For just a moment, she stared at the letters in her account name. She quickly put in the password and called up the desktop. And before long, Krisu appeared on the screen. been a long time, Maho. A long time? We just talked 2 days ago. That was an emergency, it didn't count. And even besides that, we haven't gotten to talk much lately. It's not my fault. We were testing. During Okabe and Chris's communication time, Maho and Dr. Leanskin had to avoid talking to Amadeus to keep from adding noise to the experiment. Not that Okabe talked to me a lot lately, though. Are you two maybe meeting without telling me? You were together 2 days ago, after all. What? I told you, it's not like that. Where do you get these delusions that that everything in the world is about romance? That's not a delusion. It's a highly accurate hypothesis based off calm, dispassionate observation and analysis. If you like that stuff so much, maybe you should have majored in it. Though, given how totally wrong you are, you probably wouldn't have graduated, let alone get your doctorate. Dr. Leadskin brought his hands together in exaggerated motion. It feels like a long time since I've seen this. It used to be I could always find you wherever I could. It used to be I could always find you wherever you were on campus, because I could always hear you yelling at each other. Go on, Professor, stop joking around. It just means that you're very close. You two are like sisters. Now, let's get this meeting started. We need to talk about our future plans. The person who uses their time most efficiently wins. That's another of my great quotes. I want some music. Chrisu, can you play me something? Sure. A soft piano melody begins to play from the laptop speakers. This... Maho, do you remember? It's the song that brought us together. She'd never forget. It was what brought them together a year ago. It was a symbol of their relationship. A year ago, in September of 2009, Chrisu had officially joined the Brain Science Institute. She had completed the graduate school doctorate program in May of that year, and she'd only turned 17 in July. Mao herself had joined the Brain Science Institute at an extremely young age, but her record had been beaten by quite a lot. Chrisu was a genius. Everyone who met her could tell. Dr. Leanskin had been Chris's advisor during the program, so Maho had met her several times. And that was enough to tell her that Chrisu was different. Chrisu never showed off her talents. Actually, she didn't seem to think of herself as particularly intelligent at all. But that actually made it a little hard for the people around her to approach her. Whenever you talked to Chrisu, you were forced to realize that there was a gap between you and her that could never be erased. She learned later from Dr. Leanskin that things had been the same in grad school. It was rumored that the real reason she came to America from Japan at the age of 11. It was rumored that was the reason. Okay, no matter what she wanted, no matter where she lived, she was cut off from the people around her. That was what it meant to be a genius like her. Since Maho was a girl too, and close to her age, she actually considered Chrisu more of a rival. Since they were working at the same field, they were going to be compared, and she didn't want to lose. Maybe that's why Maho never thought of going to talk to her, and Chrisu was so busy learning how to work at the lab that she never came to talk to Maho. But then 2 weeks after Chrisu came to the lab, a certain classical song had changed their relationship forever. And play. There were two types of people in the world, those who worked better with music and those who worked better with silence. From a brain science perspective, the idea that you could concentrate better with music was sheer nonsense. Whether you were aware of it or not, the sound was vibrating your eardrums and your brain was constantly analysing it. But if there was ever a public debate on the subject, Maho would want to take the first position. Theory and feelings were different. You could concentrate best with music in the background, and you could be more creative. But there was one condition. The song has to be composed by Mozart. Maho whispered to herself as she turned towards the computer. She'd been running a patch on some equations for 2 full days, and it had finally completed. Today she was going to spend the whole day analysing the output. It was Saturday, so she was the only person in the lab. This was the one day she had the whole huge space to herself. So she decided to play Mozart's 11th sonata from the speakers, not her headphones. She didn't intend to pay any attention to the music. This was more like a ritual she needed in order to concentrate. It was a warm-up exercise before she could dive into the sea of numbers and equations. Once she dove in, she wouldn't need it anymore, so she simply stopped hearing it. She stopped seeing everything around her too. All she saw were the numbering equations. All that was in her head were number and equations. All that was left was a thinking machine named Maho Hayojo. Her mind left behind the bounds of her physical body, and the speed of her thoughts accelerate towards infinite. It was time for another fun journey. Good morning. Suddenly someone whispered into her ear, and Maho jumped out of the chair, lost her balance and fell. She looked up and saw Chrisu standing down at her, beginning to panic. I'm sorry. I didn't think you would be so surprised. Chrisu, don't scare me like that. I called your name a bunch of times, but you didn't seem to hear me. Oh. Maho stood up and sat back in her chair. Sorry, I was focused so much that I didn't hear you. Yeah, I thought so. Then you should have just left me alone. Maybe Chrisu could tell she was thinking that, because she quickly added, I feel bad about it, but since I'd run into you on the weekend, I thought I should say something. And you seemed like you just started, so it didn't... I didn't think it would be a bother. Did you just get here? Yeah, I thought I'd be the only one here. I'm surprised. Then Maho realized something was strange. You said you just got here, right? So, how did you know I'd only just started working? Oh, because... Chrisu pointed at the speakers. You're still at the start of the first movement. K331, Mozart Piano Sonata number 3. What's wrong with me? K33, Mozart's Piano Sonata number 11 in A major, first movement. Mozart's Piano Sonata number 11 in A minor, the Turkish March. Why do I keep saying K twice? K331 refers to the song's Kochel number, which is a numbering system developed by Ludwig von Kochel for the purpose of indexing all of Mozart's work so that people worldwide could have a standard method of referring to them. Kochel numbers are given in order of time of the song's creation, but as new works are discovered or is discovered that a song actually came out a different year, they are sometimes updated. In the last version of Kochel system, the Piano Sonata number 11 in the major in A major is K6 300I. However, the original numbers were popular for many years and they still commonly used today. You like Mozart? I just know a little about him. And it's really more that I just like this song. The Turkish March is more popular, but the third movement of Mozart's Piano Sonata number 11 in A major. This sonata is composed of 3 movements, but the third movement is extremely famous and often performed on its own. A normal sonata consists of 4 movements, an allegro, a slow movement such as a ante or largo, a dance movement, and a faster finale. Since the piano sonata only has 3 movements, it violates the standard structure, but this can be considered another example of Mozart's genius. The melody in the first movement feels so much more pleasant, doesn't it? I agree. I'm so glad. Whenever I'm trying to focus, I put Mozart on in the background. It's not a very scientific thing to do, I know. Mao couldn't help but laugh as she realized Chrisu was saying the same thing she said earlier. In the 2 weeks since Chrisu had joined the team, Maho hadn't been quite sure how to deal with her, but now she wanted to know a little more. So she used the single her co-workers always used when they wanted to take breaks, the signal. Want to get some coffee? Sounds great. There's a bunch of stuff I wanted to ask you. As she watched Chrisu follow her, filled with energy, she was reminded of a pet dog she used to have. But later she realized that was one of the things that made Chrisu cute. She got 2 hot coffees from the lab coffee machine and the 2 of them talked about their research for a while. It must have been a strange sight. 20-year-old Maho and a 17-year-old Chrisu debating the latest development in cerebral physiology while drinking coffee out of paper cups. The study of the cerebrum, the part of the brain that controls human and animal actions. In recent years, the field of AI has achieved many things with technology called neural networks that mimics the structure of the human brain. Because of this, one popular approach has been to use an information science-based approach towards cerebral physiology. But the 2 of them realized that since they'd never had someone of the same sex and age to work with, these conversations were a big help to both of them. Having the older Maho around must have been practically a big help to Chrisu. Being a practically a big help? Yeah, I know. English. Yay. Once in a while, Chrisu would still call her senpai, the Japanese word for an upperclassman or more senior colleague. You know, I once heard that Einstein liked to play the violin. He seemed to have a lot of respect for Mozart. Maybe it's a tradition for scientists to like Mozart. If that's true, then it's an honor. Hehehe. After a short debate about their work, the 2 of them talked about Mozart until they finished their coffee. I realize Chrisu looks a lot older and whatnot, but then it's simply because she's sitting next to Maho. I feel so sorry for Maho. After she had a real conversation with Chrisu, Maho realized that she was totally different than her first impression. Every time she spoke, she'd smile or pout. It was adorable to watch. The only thing she had in common with most people her age was her appearance. She was a genius. Do you know what Einstein said when someone asked him what death meant to him? No? What do you say? Death means not getting to listen to Mozart anymore. It's a fairly famous phrase in Japan. Death means not getting to listen to Mozart anymore. It was a more romantic phrase than she'd expect from the Einstein she thought she knew. Huh? I had no idea. Einstein said that, huh? No, he didn't. Huh? Well, to be completely accurate, we can't prove that he didn't say it, but at least there's no records of it. What do you mean? Chrisu smiled and put her finger up to her lips. A book that was published in Japan a long time ago had that phrase as a quote from another biography. But the Japanese book didn't specify which biograph they got the quote from, and no one has ever found it. So the author made it up? Sheesh, even. I like how I went sheesh instead of sheesh. We can't prove that, so we can't be totally sure. But I think these words are very much what a logical man like Einstein would say. Logical? Yes, because once he died, you can't listen to Mozart, right? Of course not. Yes, of course not. Once you're dead, you can't listen to anything at all, not just Mozart. Thus the statement is true. See? Logical, right? You're very interesting, you know that? Intelligence and childishness all wrapped up in the same brain. I'm not childish. Sorry. I know it's a bit late, but it's a pleasure to be working with you, Chrissy. Maho offered her hand and Chrissy shook her with a smile. Chrissy's hand was warm. You too, Maho. Mozart had brought the two of them together. Chrissy was a child beloved by God. Everyone was amazed and astonished by her unmatched creativity. Everyone, including, of course, Maho. Something. It felt like she just remembered something important. Good morning. Someone suddenly whispered in her ear and Maho jumped off the sofa. What? Chrissy was right. At some point, Dudlinskin had picked up the laptop and and taken it behind Maho's back. Chrissy was on the screen laughing at her. Evidently, the professor had brought it close to Maho's ears and made Chrissy whisper to her. You were just in your concentration mode, weren't you? No matter how many times the professor called your name, you wouldn't come out of it, of your little world. Oh, sorry. It's impressive that you can continue your research even while this emergency is going on. The professor put the laptop back on the table and sat in the sofa across from her. And then they started the meeting. She discussed their future plans with the professor. One of the options they'd come up with was going back to America. Something kept bugging Maho the whole time during the meeting. While she was remembering how she met Chrisu, she was also remembering something else. Sal Eri, Mao's username account name. She picked it a month after Chrisu died. For some reason, she couldn't stop thinking about it. After she finished her meeting with Dr. Leanskin and left the school, she realized it started to rain. So it did rain. Japan weather reports are surprisingly accurate. I wonder if Korea stopped in some shop somewhere. Just as she went to take out to get her phone, she sent a message. Just as she went to take out her phone and send a message to her, she got a message of her own from Chrisu. It was fun to talk with. It's fun talking with Sawayama today. Tell me about Okoi next time. I had fun too. I'd said this before, but it's not like that. She was about to snap and say something back when she saw Mocha in her field of vision. She'd opened her folding umbrella and was crouched by the side of the road with her phone out. When Maho approached, she saw a flower blooming where the asphalt and blooming between the asphalt and shrubbery. Mocha was trying to take a picture of it. Sorry, Kiryu, I'm done. Mocha looked up and opened her mouth hesitantly. Hiya, Joe. Ma was happy that she said her name. You taking pictures of flowers? Yeah. Maho nodded and looked back towards the ground. There was a tiny flower blooming where the asphalt met the shrubbery. There was no other flower like it in view. The wind must have brought it here. The flower's colour was striking, but something, perhaps the rain, made it look sickly. Mocha took a picture of it. Then another, and another. The umbrella in her hand seemed to be stopping her from taking a good picture. Want me to hold your umbrella? No, I'm fine. It's fine. Maho practically yanked the umbrella out of Mocha's hands. Thank you. You're welcome. Mocha used both hands to steady her camera. When it came into focus, she pressed the button. A moment later, she stood up, satisfied. I got a good photo. I'm all set. Are you getting ready for my portrait? Mocha shook her head. I can't take your picture. It's raining. I always take pictures of landscapes. You like taking photos? Mocha shook her head again. It's proof. Proof of where I was today. Proof? Yeah. What do you mean? And then she heard the sound that meant she'd received a Rhine message. Is that from Chrissa again? I got one too. It's from Ferris. From Ferris? Disaster, yeah. Wait. Gosh damn it, Ferris. When is a disaster? You need to speak properly. The 314th prophecy of Fatiyama has come to pass now. The hearts of men have lost the will to believe, and the seal created by the sacrifice of the ancient Incan civilization has been broken now. It's only a matter of time before the dark god, the master of Pluto, revives now. The dwarf planet discovered in 1930 by the astronomer Clyde Tombaugh. For years it was defined as the 9th planet from the Sun, and due to its status as the most distant planet, it's often appeared in fiction. However, later development in astronomy revealed that there were many other planets that were roughly the same size as Pluto, and a fierce debate ensued to whether they should be counted as well. In the end, the International Astronomical Union adopted the term dwarf planet in 2006, and Pluto was classified as one of these. And typically, I can't quite remember it, but I'm not even going to try and remember and misquote and stuff. Not only the Earth, but the whole Galactic Federation is in danger now. Summon the House of Lords and Senate immediately now. The President is missing, but I'm sure he's flown off in Air Force One or something to fight the enemy, himself now. I'll start the ceremony to seal him away once more. I want you to buy time for me until it finishes. Wait, what are you talking about? That was a joke now. Wait. But really, there's big trouble here. What happened? I'll explain later now. There's a critical mission I want you to do before you head back to the condo. Oh, Ferris. Both Maho and Mocha looked at each other, confused by Ferris's strange messages. Welcome back, both of you. The time limit approaches, but there's still time. Is everything ready? It's ready. Have they returned? Yes. Now let's begin. The operation name is... I thought... Oh, damn you, Ferris. Also, that's an adorable panda. And I thought someone had broken into Maho's room again. Well, Maho's room in the hotel, at Ferris's place. All night, Cinderella girl secret party. Shocking sleepy confessions, Nia. Shockingly secret? Shockingly sleepy. What's wrong, you two? You're so low energy, Nia. We don't have many chances to have a girls' night. Let's have fun. I guess we can. I didn't think that the important mission you had for us was skipping dinner. The two of them had suddenly gotten a message that Ferris was having a girls' party that night. Ferris had asked them to skip dinner so then they'll have empty stomachs for the party. Both Maho and Mocha had done so. Okay, eat what you want, yeah. I bought something a little pricey for the cakes and ice cream, yeah. Ferris started to rummage through the plastic convenience store bags with a smile. Normally Ferris acted like she was rich, and in fact, she was rich. So she could have easily purchased the most expensive cake that either of them had ever tasted. But she realised that the right cakes and ice cream for a party like this were the ones you got in a convenience store, and she purchased them without any hesitation. Maho thought that must be one reason why the customers and maids at May Queen admired her so much. She'd been working short-staffed at May Queen since the start of this year, so it had to have been hard, but she wasn't showing any signs of exhaustion at all. What's wrong, Maho, Nia? Did you fall in love with Ferris, Nia? I always love it when girls fall in love with me. What? It's not like that. Don't be so embarrassed, Nia. I'm happy to see you like your present too. Your panda pajamas look great on you, just as I thought. It's not that I like them. It's just rude not to wear something that's a gift. The hooded... Oh, that face. That panda outfit is the best thing ever. The hooded panda pajamas that Maho was wearing were a gift from Ferris. I don't mind the fact that it fits perfectly, but this is definitely a child size. Oh, all that needs now is a laptop for Amadeus. But you're like a little doll, so I'm sure anything looks good on you, Mahonya. Stop calling me that, I said. Please, don't think that you're going to make me wear a different pair of animal pajamas every day. What? Mahona, can you read minds? How do you know I already had a week's worth lined up? You already bought them? Just as Maho was starting to realize that Ferris is just toying with her. Mocha was covering her mouth with her hand and trying not to laugh. Kiryu? Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but... She can laugh! Mao saw Mocha smile for the first time, so this was how she smiled. The smile's so cute, nya. Let's see more of it. What? First eyes sparkled in the dim light. Without warning, she leapt upon Mocha and started to tickle her sides. That face is even better. Mocha was very... Oh, sorry. Mocha was evidently very vulnerable to tickling. She squirmed and as tears formed in her eyes as she started to gasp for air. Feel like I'm doing something naughty. Yeah. Ferris backed off Mocha, panted and gasped for breath. I'm sure it's amazing though. Yeah. Ferris and Maho looked at each other and spoke. An amazing rack, yeah. Mocha was wearing a crimson baby doll was wearing a clumsy baby doll as her pajamas. It was a kind of adult lingerie that you could never imagine a girl like her wearing. Of course, she seemed unaware of this, and had seemingly only chosen it because it was easy to move around in. But with Mocha's natural proportions, she ended up looking incredibly seductive. And on top of that, with her massive breast shook as Ferris tickled her, even Maho felt a little strange. Sorry. Mocha apologized as she grasped for breath. Maho shook her head to drive away the strange thoughts. Well, whatever. Okay, let's get the party started. Okay, bring the chilled drinks now. Tonight, no one gets any sleep. No one gets any sleep was Ferris's idea of a joke. She had work early next morning. The party lasted exactly 2 hours, and then they talked the whole time. Actually, Ferris talked the whole time, and Maho and Mocha would occasionally answer. At most sleepovers, girls talked about fashion and romance, maybe, but these girls weren't interested in these things. Instead, they talked about work and their futures. It was fun to see a different side to each other as they spoke. Mocha, for instance. I'm writing a novel for fun. Huh. She said she'd been reading one of the web novels that were popular lately and decided to write one herself. And what's more, she said it was a romance with some really steamy scenes. Let me read it, Nya. I can't. I haven't even finished the first chapter. Mocha refused, but Ferris and Moho made a promise to let them see it when they finished. Ferris had something surprising to say too. I'm not going to quit being a maid, but when I get married, yeah, I want lots of kids. Ferris had lost her family when she was young, so she wanted a big family of her own as soon as possible. It was probably going to be a very lively family. For the last 30 minutes, Ferris talked Maho into giving a lecture on AI research. Maho had given a slightly less formal version of the interview she'd done yesterday. She talked about the framing problem, about Amadeus, about the future where AI surpassed humans. Ferris was interested in more than anime culture. She was into technology and gadgets as well, and she paid close attention to what Maho had to say. But as Maho spoke, she realized that Mocha was starting to look depressed. Kiryu, what's wrong? You getting tired, yeah? That's not it. I'm scared of the future. Scared of the future? Yeah. Once there's an AI better than humans, I think a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. I'll probably be one of them. And that scares me. So that's it, Maho thought to herself. Maho had only lived with Mocha for a few days, but she started to figure out her personality. She's a very polite girl. She was a very pretty girl with amazing proportions and good at her job, but Mocha seemed to think she was worthless. She thought that no one needed her, and that if someone better than her appeared, they would quickly take her place. And once that happened, even that there was no place left where she belonged, then what would happen to her? That scared her. It's okay, Kiryu. That's right, Nya. You don't need to worry. I don't have any special talents or smarts like you two. Anyone can take my place. Anyone can do a better job than me. I'm not as talented as you two. So what? So someone could take your place. So someone's better than you. So what? Mahonya? There's a lot of scientists who are more talented than I am. And maybe someday an AI event would write a paper better than I ever could. But so what? At Dr. Linskin's lab at Victor University, the nearest desk to the entrance is my seat. The door wasn't put on right, and the wind always blows through it. You can always hear people chatting in the hallway, but it's my seat. Even if the university itself were to end, I'm not giving that seat up to anyone. Even if even if a more talented scientist or more talented AI wants it, I'm not giving it up. I won't tell you that there's no one that... I won't tell you that no one can take anyone else's place. That's just a platitude. There really aren't that many jobs in society where you're truly irreplaceable. But that doesn't mean you just have to hand everything over. Because I'm me. I'm not someone else. I am me. You are that I. And I can't remember the persona. Damn it! I can't remember the social link contract spiel. Or the persona thing. And then Mocha gets a persona and runs around the dark hour. Anywho. And it doesn't matter how talented you are. Let's say you're a biorobot and was identical to Ferris right down to the molecular level. And it could do a better job of serving than and it could do a better job of serving you than she could. I'd still rather ask Ferris. Even if it cost me 10 times or 100 times more, I wouldn't ask the robot. There's no real reason for this. I just want to drink the tea that she makes. That's what I'm saying. So, Ma was getting so emotional she didn't know what to say next. She realized that Mocha and Ferris are staring at her in shock. Sorry, I just kind of... I am me. Maybe I am. Mocha smiled a little. We knew this was coming. The next instant, Ferris was on top of her, squeezing her tight. Wait, what's going on? Ferris was smiling at her with dewy eyes. That was so moving, yeah. I didn't realize you loved me so much. I love you too. I'll make you tea for the rest of your life. Huh? Is that what I just said? The next few minutes were a struggle to stop Ferris from rubbing her face against her cheek. Oh, now we're back to Okabe. Damn it, Okabe. We were having fun. At least it's chilled music for Okabe. So with that sleepover done with, I'm going to end this episode here. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.